Hello and welcome again, everybody, to another edition of the Royal Report. I am your Royal 2IC, and no, don't adjust your settings. I am burnt to a crisp. So yes, I look awfully red. I was outside over the weekend for the air show and things like that, and yeah, I got a little crispy on some places, but that's okay, right? All right, so let's get into this one. So as I have mentioned before. We are going to start a new segment. Now, this was supposed to come out on Sunday. I was busy all weekend, plus it was Father's Day and everything. So I'm going to put this one out kind of midweek. Again, if you have any information, stories, things like that that you can send me, send them. I'm going to put them all into just a big pile, kind of like what you're about to see. And then we'll put it out for everybody. So all of these came from you, the subscriber, and we're just going to jump right into it so that way maybe if you don't quite understand this will maybe give you a little bit of an insight on what we're trying to do here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to share the screen, and what we're going to jump into is going to be, let's see, which one are we going to start out with. Let's start out with this one here. All right, as you can see right here, drinking water has highest contamination, 5 states. I don't know why that, there we go. Highest contamination levels in these 5 states. There we go. Okay, so here they're going to show you a map of the 5 states, and what they're doing is these man made forever chemicals. Now, these are New Jersey, Massachusetts, California, New Hampshire, and Pennsylvania, all having the most highly contaminated drinking water systems, according to this environmental working group. If we scroll down a little bit more, they're showing you the different numbers that are coming into this. But if you go down here into the map, and let me zoom it out a little bit so that way we can get a good idea of where we're at in the United States. Get rid of the ad. There we go. So pick out where you are. Are you over here on the West Coast? You got a little bit of a concern. Maybe right here in the middle, you're not so concerned. Uh, but then as you start moving more along the Mississippi, you start getting more and more into this populated. So right here along this line, look at all this. This is just insane about the number of tests that they did. And for me, I'm in Ohio. Can you pinpoint where Ohio is on this map? For me, it's a little bit more concerning. Now, granted, if you start drilling down into this, it doesn't get to where it's covering up the entire state. So again, I'm going to pick on Ohio. So, if you live out here, up here in Findlay, down here southwest of Chillicothe, somewhere around, it's still concerning, but it's not as bad as when you're doing the 50,000 foot overview. But if you live in one of those 5 states, it might be something that you are concerned with, and maybe you want to look into. So that is the first thing. Now, the next thing that we had that somebody sent in is actually a little bit of an interesting story. Okay. So this one, the headline reads Disneyland employee dies in theme park accident. When I read that, I was like, oh no, here we go. It's going to be some really off the wall thing. But as you kind of got into it, it was a very weird freak accident. This was a falling from a moving more ads falling from a moving golf cart in the backstage area. This woman has rode on these kinds of carts and things. She's been with Disneyland for like I forget what it was, somewhere in here, 20 something years. Uh, it just, something on this doesn't seem right. It didn't sit well with who sent it to me either. There's actually a few of you that sent me this one. There's something, I think, a little bit more to this than just some freak accident. Maybe we're reading too far into it. I don't know. But there was more than one of you that decided to send that to me. So I was definitely going to share that one. Now, the next one that we are going to get into is going to be, let's see, this one here. So get rid of that. Recall alert for Salmonella outbreak from bad vegetables affecting Texas and Louisiana. And I know we've got some Texas folk down in here. But if you start getting into this one, they're saying that it's not just those are the two worst, but this is actually 25 states is being impacted by this. You can go down through here and believe, yeah, there we go. So here's the map of what it is. So again, if you kind of live out here on this West Coast, you're not quite as affected, but it's basically these whites, blues, and whatnot. Uh, and then they go through and tell you the different symptoms and things like that. But again, it's another food supply. When you are going after uh, you know the store bought mass produce, it's all pesticides and all sorts of different other things. If you literally grab some seeds, throw it in the ground, put a little bit of time and effort into it, guess what? You know exactly what is in your food. That's kind of what we preach on this one, is make sure that you know what's in your food supply. So there you go. There's a little bit on that one. Next, let's do one where we go here. So, oh, more ads. Man, I cannot believe these ads. Okay, down here at the bottom, another solar company goes bust. All right. So this is actually one of the largest residential solar installation companies in the nation, just abruptly shut its doors and filed bankruptcy. And so this whole big thing about pushing and going green, you know, make sure you do everything you can to, lower your cost, unplug your appliances when you leave the house, and do this and do that, and set your thermostat on this and that. But make sure that you drive an electric vehicle. It's out one side of the mouth and out another side. Nothing makes sense. And then it goes into this. Okay, I'm going to buy in. I'm going to go green. What do you want me to do? We'll go into solar. All right, let me Google it. What's the biggest solar company? Okay, here we go. Titan Solar. Oh, wait, they just went bankrupt. So again, it's a bunch of these. It's a big push, and there's nothing behind it. So I don't know. You just take it for what it is on that one. We got just a couple more here. And so let's see where this one is. Dun, 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 there we go. So I'm sure everybody has seen it. So right there in the headlines, Russian submarine is down in Cuba. This one's talking specifically about the damaged hull, is raising some questions. They're saying that this black flag right here is not something that is common, and that they are saying it's actually to hide damage. That doesn't look, you know, kind of big or anything. It may be slightly bigger than just a normal flag that they fly, maybe a little bit longer. So I can't imagine it hiding some huge gaping, hole or damage or whatever it is. So I'm not entirely sure where any of that came from. But hey, maybe it's true. I don't know. It just seems weird that you're going to take a flag and try and hide something that's minuscule. Anything could happen. It could have rubbed up against something. Something could have hit it, did something, whatever. Who knows? Maybe it's no damage at all. Maybe it's actual damage that's concerning. I don't know. But yes, they're down there. It's no big surprise if you look into it. Russia, since the Cold War, has been doing nuclear exercises down in Cuba about every 2 to 3 years or so, I believe. So it's nothing to be concerned about. One of the things I'm going to try and put out there is that when you see these big, huge, flashy headlines about, oh no, there's a nuclear sub, read into it. It's the same thing when you see something about train derailments or a bridge collapse or something like that. Look into it a little deeper. Don't just read the headline. Don't read just part of the story. Do your own research. go in there. So you pick a train derailment, and is it one of those things where you go, how many trains derail in a year? Oh wow, that's a big number. Well, how many derail in a month? Well, it's still a big number. How many derail in a day? Wow, that's surprising. Go through and do your own research, and make sure you're not just falling for some clickbait headline, or you're listening to somebody who's trying to get you all hyped up in fear so that way they can sell you something, or something like that. Okay, so my rant on that is over, and let me share this one last one that one of you guys sent in, and let me see if I can find it. I should have went through and made these a little bit better. This one goes along in this. So, Russian President Putin makes a rare visit to North Korea. Now, this one is rare. That's not just a flashy one. I think this is his second time in the country in like 20 something years. Um, yeah, there we go. In 24 years. So it is a rare trip. Now, depending on which article you're going to go read, they're saying that he has come basically on his knees, begging and kissing feet and all that because he's out of ammunition. My 2 cents, if it absolutely means anything, if Russia is so badly losing this war that they have to go around begging for stuff because they're just an inch away, they're any day now, they're just going to completely collapse. I don't see them sending all this military equipment and personnel overseas. You see planes going here, warships going here, submarines going here. If it was really that true, I don't see it. I mean, I guess you could do it as a diversion. Hey, I'm so mighty, I can send my stuff over here because I'm not really losing when I am. But I personally, I don't believe that. Um, and honestly, I would say that, and here comes all the ads. So let me get off of that before the ads really start kicking in. Before, unless somebody comes in and rescues, unless we get some sort of NATO involvement or some other thing. Which, remember, there's a lot of things going on. Not fearing, not trying to get you all hyped up or anything. You've got a bunch of countries between China and Taiwan, China and the Philippines, North versus South Korea, obviously Ukraine and Russia. Um, there's a lot of things going on in Africa, South America. Um, there's just a lot of things going off, and honestly, it just takes that one kind of little mistake, miscalculation, um, and you got to factor in human error. You could have the one guy that controls something that makes major decisions just have a bad day and snap. So, it's hard to plan for a lot of that stuff. You just hope that somebody that has that type of power is able to control themselves. But I was recently reading an article that I believe it was North Korea added 25, I believe, nuclear missiles to their arsenal last year. So that's great to know, right? And actually, let me share one last one before I let you guys go, because this one I think is going to be one that will, kind of go through. And let me see, maybe not. Maybe I didn't save that one. Bear with me for just a sec as I scroll through way too many things that I have open. All right, there it is. So, 8 people suspected ties to ISIS arrested in New York City, Philly, and LA. If you start going down through this article, now this is one of many. This is the one that seems to be taking over. I had a few of you actually send this to me, and it's just another one to where you have so many people coming in, whether by foot, by airplane, by train, by boat, whatever, just pouring in. Yes, I know the other day that the resident in the Oval Office did sign their executive order, doing different things. There's a lot of talk about amnesty, a lot of talk about fast track to green card. Uh, there's just a lot going on. We'll see what happens. Again, it's one of them things. The best thing that you can possibly do is, fend for yourself. Uh, Team up, make your mag, make your group, make your tribe, whatever you're gonna, decide to do. But you're going to be your own first responder. You're going to be the one that you guys depend on, and you have to make sure that you're as equipped and trained and supplied as you possibly can, because the best way that you can possibly get through any sort of whatever it is, whether it's civil unrest, war, pandemic, whatever, is to make it to where it doesn't affect you. You know, do what you can. I know that there's excuses. Some of them are valid, some of them are not. Plant trees, plant food. If you have the ability and everything, dig a pond, dig a well, do what you can. Squirrel stuff away. It's one of them ones. If you can, I know finances are hard, but make it to where, can you come up with $5 a paycheck? $20 a month. Can you come up with 20 bucks and put that away every month for $20? I'm gonna go buy X, Y, and Z. I'm gonna buy 5 cans of food, case of water, whatever, this, that, pack of band-aids, whatever. Make your list and just stick to it. It's little by little. If you can crunch through that little by little port, then before you know it, you're actually going to have a decent supply. So, uh, think that's about everything that you guys have sent me. Let me double check and make sure that there is not any more, because you guys sent a ton of stuff for me, and I didn't know if I was actually going to get any of them. But it was quite interesting to go through and see just how many uh, of everybody that seemed to go through. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I promise. Last one. Absolutely. Promise, promise, promise. Here we go. Symptoms of KP3, the new COVID variant, which they're predicting to be the dominant strand. Now, if you go through, because right here, they're saying the most common or dominant variant in the US right now uh, comes from the JN1, which was dominant over the winter. And this one is going to be one of the ones that they're calling the flirt variant. So keep in mind, there is one of the ex directors of the CDC, I believe, one of the major health guys that came out here recently and predicted that actually it is the bird sickness that is going to be the next one. I tend to agree. I don't know if you're going to pull any more out of the uh, COVID stuff or not, but uh, one of you sent this to me, and I thought it was an interesting one that probably should be shared out there. That maybe it's not done, so it's one of them ones too. I'm going to give the same advice as I wrap up on this one. It doesn't matter what you believe or disbelieve. You can say that it was made up. You can say it was absolutely real. The big thing is whether it was real or a cold, there was an illness, and prepare for it. Okay. Even if there is not some sort of epidemic, pandemic, something with an emic in it, there's always going to be disease. Medical is going to be huge. Make sure that you stock up on things that will get you through and treat symptoms, treat various things. Just something to make yourself a little bit more comfortable, things to help with fever, things that you can do, and especially for people that are young or elderly that maybe can't handle toughing out the symptoms, so to speak. But it's just an idea. There always will be disease, especially if you have some SHTF situation to where hygiene is down. Then it's going to be a lot more. You're going to have disease probably run rampant, and so it's going to be one of them things that if you can get away from society, because once you start having death and destruction, you start having everything in the streets of dead bodies, rotten food, everything from feces and everything else. You're going to start getting just a ton of diseases, and who knows, probably some new disease that we don't even want to talk about. So, but that's what I've got for you. So I appreciate everybody who participated in this one. I picked out a bunch. There was a few that I didn't do. So if I did not add yours in here, please don't freak out. I could only do so much. I'm over 20 minutes. I didn't plan on this video being that long. So just bear with me. If you find anything, send me the article, send me the link, send me the video, send me whatever. You guys know my email. It's at the start of every single one. I believe I've got my email completely fixed, so that way you. And that's what I've got for you guys. So stay tuned. There's definitely more information to come. And with that, I want to say I hope you have a great day and a blessed day. And I want to remind you, above everything else, remember to remain united, because we're all prepping in this together.